All right, good day, my friends. This is Babashola Fateh. And what I want to do here very quickly is to hopefully save some time to give you an idea of what the role of a facilitator is in the reading club. Many of us have led Bible study, we've led teachings, we've preached, we've evangelized. That is from the position of a teacher. You are speaking to them, you are lecturing, or you are teaching them. When you are mentoring, it's important to get, much more important to get feedback, to get responses from the person you're mentoring than for you to teach them. Because you go into mentoring believing that the the Spirit of God is in that person and they are fearfully and wonderfully made. And so your biggest job is to help them discover that. And where necessary, of course, you will help them and support them. But first, they have to bring out what the Lord has invested in them. So you are not the one sowing seeds into them. God has sowed seeds, but you are like Jesus walking with the disciples, talking in parables, and asking them, "Who do men say I am?" Well, he could have told them the answer to that question that, "Hey, I am the Son of God." It doesn't matter what you have heard or what you think. No, he would always ask questions, and then when they have responded, he now responds to what they already know. So that's the model here. So these are screenshots from the facilitator guide, and I highlighted some things just because I want to emphasize them. One is the goal. Here, the facilitator is designed to steer the process, encourage discussion, and model effective leadership to your group. Okay, so your job here is not the master teacher or the priest. You're not a pastor. Even if you have a pastoral role in your church, the goal here is not, in a small group like this, in a mentoring group, is not to use that power. When Jesus was close with his disciples, he would do things like wash their feet. So think of this as a feet washing session. So you're not the one at the head of the table, you are the one who is washing their feet. Here again, it shows that it talks about the benefits of going through this facilitator guide. So the benefit of doing something like this before you teach your group is that it will challenge you to think of other creative ways to facilitate the group. So even though this is a guide, that's why it is a guide, you don't need to follow it every word for word. There's also the Spirit of God in you as the leader, as a facilitator, to share, to mold the lesson in the way that you think is best for your group. If you decide to let others facilitate, which is strongly recommended, they can also guide themselves. So for somebody who has not led a session like this before, it may be overwhelming initially. So having a guide like this is very helpful for them to, at least initially, don't have to do the work of thinking about questions to ask. They can just use the guide, and that is fine too. And we all will get better. Okay. One of the things here it says that another good thing about these types of small groups, um, John Maxwell called them lunch and learn, uh, because they should really be done in less formal settings, in homes or on the phone, or just the thing about it is it encourages personal development, and it helps you know people in a setting you would not normally experience together. That is key. If you remember in chapter 2 of the actual book, Mentoring 101, page 14, it says develop a relationship before starting out to mentor anybody. So a group like this is a place to begin to develop a relationship and set the boundaries of relationship. Okay, create an environment with values, goals. So, for example, people need to know what they are committing to, and they want to feel they can contribute to the formation of the group. This will increase the sense of ownership. This will take the pressure off one facilitator if everybody sees it as their group. So you don't need to do the work of trying to motivate them to come. If they know that it's their group, they will come. Some other things, some values. I just want to highlight one of it here. Every member of the group should feel their input is respected and welcome. So you're not here as the facilitator to preach to them and tell them what it means. No, you are here to ask them questions. You are here to learn along with them and to hear their views. Some goals, again, this is from the facilitator guide. This is not a class, so it is vital that each person contributes. You have to remind people to contribute. If you need to tell them ahead of time that, hey, I will be asking you this question, so be prepared to answer that question. That is also helpful because not everybody can think like really, really fast about every issue. And then if there are other goals people want to add to the group, let them say. Some expectations, each member should make a commitment to the group. So these are things you, as a facilitator, you should be committed, and you should also encourage everybody to be committed, to actively participate in the group, be on time, come prepared. As a group, decide how many chapters of a book you want to cover in one session. So that's up to you. It doesn't have to be one, it doesn't have to be 10. Again, everybody knows how much they're comfortable with reading. So we should work with that. If you cannot be there, email or send a text message or a WhatsApp message to the others that you are co-leaders, and that way they know to plan. If possible, give everybody the opportunity to facilitate. Um, your responsibilities, again, as a facilitator, um, you are the one who is like really a secretary. Again, don't think of yourself as the leader that everybody will serve. No, you are the one who is here to serve the people. So recruit people for the group if necessary, and I highly welcome that you do this. Recruit people into the group. Be prepared to lead members through the amount of material, and email questions to group members prior. It may help. So send them a WhatsApp message. Oh, maybe you've read the chapter and you want to ask somebody about something. Well, text them. Oh, on page 2, the author says this. I'm going to ask you to share about your experience about whatever the author says. So they are prepared. They're not thinking on the spot. Um, Some tips: ask open ended questions, read all the assigned work prior, make notes. Feel free to use your own questions if you like. You don't have to necessarily follow all the things that the facilitator guide says. So, for example, this is a screen grab of when I read chapter, um, I believe this is chapter 1. Okay, so it talks about believe everybody has a seed of success. So I ask myself, what are some success seeds I have? Seeds don't look like anything they are, until they're allowed to grow. So and so I so those are my initial thoughts. At least I have for me to have some initial thoughts. Then I underline some things that I may want to emphasize if I speak that it takes commitment, diligence, and so on. So be it is important you have read the book and also have some questions of your own. You are not just the leader because you know more. You are just the leader because you are the one who is chosen to serve, and so you also have questions that you may need answers to. So again, feel free to share your questions too. So the structure of the facilitator guide, again, look at that. But I want to emphasize this: you should only be talking for 10 to 15% of the time as a facilitator. It is not where you come and preach. Let them speak and you listen. So these are the parts of it. There's a main point. Again, the main point, each chapter has a main point. But if you as the leaders think our main point should be this, you can decide that. So for example, if I'm making my own main point that yes, I'm talking about mentorship, but I'm really concerned about discipleship. So I know. So when we discuss, we're discussing the same material, the same book, but with an eye towards discipleship. Open-ended questions, facilitator questions, and weekly challenge. So, for example, this is group one. I'm just going to use an example. This is group one, and so this is the a screenshot of chapter of the guide for chapter one. So the main points. This is it takes an inventory of your strengths. So when I'm preparing, I ask myself, what does that mean? Oh well, let me go find the resource that people can use to find their strengths. Okay, so I put that there. So I make it available to So when we get to that point in the discussion, in case somebody doesn't know what that means or what that is for them. Next is, okay, so of these three people, two will co-facilitate for one day. So let's say it's Bro Joshua O and Bro FA O. So let's say we just tell us, so those both of them would have met. They will say, okay, Bro Joshua O, you are the one who will take this question. You're going to ask this question, and then when it comes to the second part of the thing, Bro Joshua O, you're also going to ask this question for the facilitation question. But when it comes to the weekly challenge, that's what Bro FAO will do. And so Bro FAO would have thought about the weekly challenge he wants to ask people to do, or maybe he wants to discuss it with the group. But let's say, for example, the weekly challenge here is talk to the person you mentor and invite them to the next reading club. If that's a challenge, so that the next week when you meet, you ask people how their challenge went. And that way people can keep growing continuously.